Hello everyone. Today we're going to be discussing the Chiang Initiative, or the CMI. This video will highlight the primary focus of the initiative, define the role and functionality of ASEAN, provide a brief background surrounding the Asian financial crisis, and consider the future economy of this region. The CMI is a multilateral currency exchange among the 10 members of the Association of Southeast Asian Nations, or ASEAN. This includes Indonesia, Malaysia, the Philippines, Singapore, Thailand, Brunei, Cambodia, Laos, Myanmar, and Vietnam. It was created in the year 2000 following the Asian financial crisis of 1997, with the intent of regaining financial stability within the region. Southeast Asia has spent decades trying to unify and prosper countries within the region. The ASA came before ASEAN and consisted of Thailand, Philippines, and the Federation of Malaya. Once the ASA dissolved, ASEAN would be created in 1967 to protect its members from communism. Although there was slight tension between states, including the suspicion of Vietnam becoming communist or the accusations of genocide in Myanmar, which would eventually lead to their removal, members were willing to overlook their differences. Due to the charter being somewhat vague, there wasn't a lot of productivity within the first decade, until the late 70s when GDPs were significantly improving, which ultimately led to interest in other members joining. Some of the promises that the Declaration of Bangkok offered are economic growth, social progress, cultural development, and regional peace. In the early 1990s, the states underwent a small economic crisis which led to the 1991 recession. The U.S. Federal Reserves lowered interest rates lower than South Korea and other Southeast Asian countries, which led to the attention of the international financial community, and the stock markets were rising due to the inflow of capital. Investments shot up and projects were carried out that eventually led to little profit, resulting in an economic bubble. As the USD value rose, this benefited the countries who had their currencies fixed to the US dollar. The rise in the US dollar led to a rise in overcapacity of the export sector, rendering the investments inviable. In 1996, the account balances of Thailand, Malaysia, and others plummeted. Their account balance was being financed by foreign debt. And then in 1997, Bangkok became a gateway to the economy of Southeast Asia. The Thai government was using foreign capital and channeling it into investment projects in local currency. As things worsened, businesses began borrowing money to pay off the initial loans. Between March and June in 1997, the Thai central bank secretly had to provide liquidity to countries' financial institutions at bargain rates using the international reserves. The banks continued to worsen as they used all reserves. And then the Thai baht collapsed. The Tom Yum Kung crisis began, and the baht was no longer pegged to the USD. This was devastating since all previous investments were in US dollars, which no longer matched the value of the Thai baht. Foreign investors started to realize what was happening, and shortly after, all financial systems were negatively impacted. This was considered to be one of the biggest financial crises in history. Only a few years later, when members of ASEAN Plus 3 came together, Japan proposed an Asian Monetary Fund, similar to the IMF, which ultimately got struck down by the US. In addition, former IMF Managing Director Horst Kohler said, "Our advice to the East Asian region is to pursue regionalization, not in opposition to the IMF, because the IMF is a global institution, but to do so in a complementary fashion." Finance ministers of members of ASEAN, China, Japan, and South Korea met on May 6, 2000 at the 33rd annual meeting of the Board of Governors of the Asian Development Bank. This is where they drafted a proposal to establish a network of bilateral currency swap agreements, which became the Chiang Mai Initiative. Although some were skeptical in the beginning, the CMI eventually proved to be successful. In 2009, the network consisted of 16 bilateral arrangements among the ASEAN Plus 3 countries worth approximately $90 billion. Additionally, the ASEAN swap arrangement had a reserves pool of approximately $2 billion. However, this wouldn't happen until after the 2008 global recession hit, which put pressure on the ASEAN Plus 3 meeting to expand and amend. It transformed into the Chiang Mai Initiative Multilateralization Agreement, which was signed on December 28, 2009 and took effect on March 24, 2010. With China, Japan, South Korea, and Hong Kong acting as a monetary administration on its own, joined the initiative, monetary contributions significantly rose. According to Bloomberg, China and Japan have provided the largest contributions, each providing 32% of all contributions. China's total contribution alone is $38.4 billion. Now let's discuss the future of the Chiang Mai Initiative. If Southeast Asian countries are concerned about communism, are they treading dangerous waters by allowing collaboration with China? And with China's interest in the South China Sea, is the CMI doomed to fail? Thanks for watching.